Hello, and welcome back. In this video, we are going to be exploring and explaining why exactly A Liar Liar is a bad anime, and why Season 1, in my opinion, was a complete failure, and just generally reviewing Season 1, so make sure you stick to the end to get all the goodies along the way. Now, Liar Liar was actually one of my more anticipated shows of the summer season because I thought the premise sounded really intriguing, really interesting, and really hype. Thinking about a mix of No Game No Life and Classroom of the Elite made me really excited and hyped up about the potential of the anime, and the first few episodes were decent, but nothing extraordinary. And the further we went along Season 1, the worse things got. And by the end of it, I was extremely disappointed in the show and the season, and basically branded it all as a complete failure, both in terms of an anime and an adaptation. Now, if you just go around this show thinking about the premise, yes, there's a ton of potential. And if the execution was done correctly, yes, it could and would have been an amazing show, at least to me. The psychological scheming and planning and lying and the complicated, complex intricacies between the different characters, the different factions, the different motivations of each character and each faction. Like, this could have been really awesome. Could have been like a Game of Thrones almost-esque feeling if it got things really nailed down. But instead, what we got was a good premise that started failing more and more at a basic level the longer the anime went on. What I mean by that is, clearly, either the author or the adaptation team was not able to include things to make the characters seem intricate, make the characters seem real or complicated or complex or intelligent, and you didn't really get any of these power plays or any moments where you really got to explore each person's motivations, why this person was trying to do this or wanting to do this or getting into this position or getting this piece of power or wherever else. And that made everything feel pretty bland, as it didn't really feel the competitive aspect or really establishing any antagonists or anything that could go up against our protagonist in any real way. But the biggest issue with Season 1 and Liar Liar as a whole was definitely the complete and utter disgrace of the game system and how it was explained, explored, used, utilized, and disregarded at points in this first season. Now, the game system, on its face, sounds cool. So, okay, you have a star system, you have abilities, tons of different combos, and you have to, outwit your opponent and win games by basically being smarter, being more schemy and intelligent, and foreseeing what your opponent is going to do and winning their own game, so to speak. And when you add that on top of the initial lie and the situation that our protagonist is thrown into, this can make for a really interesting anime, right? Yes, you would think so, but no, because the game system from day one is not explained in the best way, and there are seeming untold numbers of abilities, so you never know what ability our protagonist or the antagonist or opponent is going to use, because just when you think you might have a grasp on the game, someone pulls out an ability you've never heard of, and it's like, okay, I guess that ability turns the game around. Okay then, which ruins the tension, ruins the suspense, and the ability for the viewer to really follow along. I can understand the complexities and difficulties of trying to include and explain every single ability, as there must be hundreds and hundreds, but maybe cutting things down to make it at least more anime-friendly would have been a good idea. But that is far from the biggest problem with the games. The games themselves often being lackluster or ill-explained is another issue, but the biggest and much bigger issue as a whole for the show is simply that it doesn't matter. Like, the games don't matter, the rules don't matter. Nothing really matters because our protagonist just cheats all the time, every single game. He never wins a game based on his own wit, intelligence, or scheming or anything. He just cheats. And when you have a system like this, a game system, that's entirely based on actually, not cheating and playing the game and winning because you are actually able to outskill your opponent in some way or form, is completely redundant in this case, and makes for an extremely boring watch, as you know that he can't lose because he just is going to cheat to win, and you get no suspense or excitement or anything about him explaining his abilities or why he did this or that to win. because he's just going to cheat to make it happen anyway. What they could have done, or should have done, either in the source material or in the anime, is that, hey, we have this character. He is a 1-star. He is lacking tons of abilities and skills to be the 7-star and the position he has been thrust into by this principal, etc. So, how about we just make a show of him actually having to outwit his opponents and really use skill and scheming to win games, even though he is much less powerful than the foes he faces? Like that could have been really fun, really interesting, and really intriguing. But instead they just went the cheating route, which is absolutely boring and lazy as fuck. Not to mention, not only he cheats, everyone seems to cheat. Like, this school system made by a billion-dollar corporation is so open to hacking and flaws that apparently anyone that's like a slight connection can just cheat or program in illegal abilities, black market abilities. It's like, how do you even have this system in place if it's so well known that people can just get black market abilities? But you just have black market on the system and you're just okay with that? That's just fine for you? And you can just easily cheat because I guess you didn't invest in cybersecurity? Okay. There are a ton of things I can go into about Season 1 and the anime as a whole that I really disliked and that made the experience bad for me, and why I rated it as lowly as I did. But in the end, none of the concepts really worked. None of the concepts or ideas really got fleshed out. Everything was pretty surface level, and we didn't really get any proper through line of a narrative or plot from the start till the end. For example, our main character, our protagonist, he goes to this island initially to find this girl he's been searching for. And that is apparently his main motivation for actually going along with this scheming and lying of being a 7-star and the entire shtick, basically, of Season 1. But he rarely, if ever, mentions her outside of 1 or 2 times during the season and at the very, very end of the last episode. And that's it. Like, it doesn't seem that important to him, since he does nothing to actually find her, as far as we see. He does nothing to actually try to actually search for her. He just mentions her a couple times, and I guess that's enough to make the viewer think that he cares, or that that's his main goal. And then, of course, I can harp for hours on how bad I think the character development has been, and how little or not at all fleshed out characters are in the show, especially Noah, going from an antagonist to suddenly being all lovey-dovey, bipolar, loving our main character after the altercation they have. It's like, that's not how characters work. They don't just flip on a dime, unless they have some severe personality issues you haven't explained to us. In the end, just on every level, this show failed. They could have and should have done so much more, but they were either unable or incapable of doing so, which resulted in a completely failed and bad anime and adaptation. Now, if this show ever gets a season 2, hey, maybe there's hope if they retcon a lot of things or just actually start playing games without cheating and without doing all this dumb, stupid shit. But I have little hope, or no hope actually, especially as this was supposed to be an ecchi. The source material is ecchi, but ecchi was nowhere to be seen in this anime. At least if you got a little bit more ecchi outside of one singular bath scene, we would have had a bit more enjoyment out of it. But alas, it is what it is. What did you think of Season 1 of Liar Liar? Hate it? Love it? Leave us in the comment section down below. And if you enjoyed this Season 1 review, please do like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all that good stuff to support this channel. And if you want to watch another review of a summer 2023 anime show, click on this video right here.